Hey guys, welcome to today's Vehicle Visionary. Today, well, you pretty much know by the title of the video what we're taking a look at. It's the 2022 version of the Porsche GT3. And for the high-performance enthusiast who doesn't want the interference and maybe sometimes that lag of the turbocharger and the issues of soft suspension that can affect handling and maybe not make it quite as good, you've got cars like this. In fact, Porsche has designed this model with high performance in mind to the point that there are only two driving modes. You have Sport and you have Track. When it comes to features and functionality, obviously there are a lot of options. And depending on what you want to spend, well, obviously will determine what you get. As you take a look at the exterior, with the front spoiler, the front splitter, the rear spoiler, everything is fully adjustable. And one thing that I find very impressive that Porsche has done here with this GT3 is that they have increased downforce without increasing drag. So that means the car is going to run a lot better down the road, and everything here is fully adjustable. But here's the big trick with the adjustments on this car. You might want to take it to somebody who knows what they're doing if you don't, because everything that's adjustable is manually adjustable. Now you do have the front lift that makes driving over bumps and different things like that. If you have a big hump getting into the driveway of your house, you can still do that. And it has memory settings so that it remembers when you come to certain areas, obviously GPS focused and all that kind of stuff. Now, let's talk about the main area of attraction here, obviously. What is the engine like? You've got the flat 4-liter, 6-cylinder, naturally aspirated. Okay, that's good for the high-performance enthusiast because instant power as soon as you drop the hammer, and believe me, there's plenty of it. 502 horsepower, 346 pound-feet of torque, 2 transmission options. There's the 7-speed PDK, which essentially is a manual transmission, and I'll explain what I mean by that. You also have the true manual 6-speed if you want to shove in the clutch and row your own gears. But you know what? There's ultimately 2 manual transmissions because the PDK is a double clutch transmission. What does that actually mean? It means that that transmission is basically a computer-controlled manual.
There are drivers who don't like comfort-oriented features or the limitations of a turbocharger that come at the expense of a strong visceral experience. For these drivers, there's only one 911 left that checks all the boxes, and of course, it's the Porsche 911 GT3. Horsepower and torque figures are up slightly, and the engine is capable of revving as high as an outrageous 9,000 RPMs. Yes, that is insane. In fact, Porsche says it's nearly identical to the engine used in the track-only 911 GT3 Cup car. GT3 is with the PDK dual-clutch automatic transmission gain Porsche Torque Vectoring Plus and an electronically controlled limited slip differential, while the manual-equipped models feature Porsche Torque Vectoring, that's without the plus, and a mechanical limited slip differential. Of course, the goal of both setups is the same, and that is to enhance steering response and agility when driving through corners. Porsche says the PDK-equipped GT3 will move from 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, something we actually test during the test drive, but keep in mind there were 2 of us in the car at the time. Top speed is an Autobahn-ready 197 miles per hour. Top speed is an Autobahn-ready 197 miles an hour. That is unless you choose the manual transmission. 0 to 60 increases to 3.7 seconds in that case, but top speed improves to just 1 mile per hour shy of 200 miles per hour. The GT3 is the first street-legal 911 to feature a double wishbone front suspension. This comes from the suspension design Porsche uses on its RSR race cars, and the GT3's wider front track and new suspension design are the foundation for improving cornering stability and steering response. Rear suspension design is a multi-link setup featuring rear-wheel steering and is tuned to suit the GT3 specific front suspension. Traction from new ultra high-performance summer tires measuring 255/35 R20s up front and 315/30 R20s in the rear. The interesting thing on the model in today's video is they are actually Goodyear tires, something I haven't seen on a Porsche before. And what about the practical side of things? Can you really say anything about the GT3 that is practical? Well, for those who may want to take a road trip and are curious about cargo space, numbers come in 9.3 cubic feet or a highly usable 13.8 cubic feet with the seat area. That is, if you can get to it. Remember, the seats are in a fixed upright position, so gaining access to this area is a little challenging.
All right, guys, here we go on the test drive. I've been waiting for this. We're gonna do a launch. Yeah, it did bog down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think you had the RPMs high enough.
Well, we'll do another one because we're going to do a 0 to 60 test with the Draggy in just a little bit here, but I wanted to just drive around a little bit, kind of give my impressions of what this car is like. This is actually the second test drive we've done today. We were kind of planning that, but unfortunately on the first test drive that went much better, the microphone wasn't working. That's why you see the microphone right here, which is, I think I mentioned that earlier in the video, but we'll just try it out and see. But the thing I really like here about this car is that it is so balanced. This is probably going to sound really strange to compare this to something in the sport of drag racing, but a lot of the cars in drag racing, of course, obviously any car, and a lot of high-performance sports cars on the road that would compete with the GT3. When you take off and launch like we just did, the back end squats really hard, and you don't get that here. And you might wonder, well, what does that matter? That says a lot about the balance of the suspension and the way the chassis is tuned. So Porsche has obviously really thought everything out, and probably not anything new, but this is the first time I've driven a GT3. So obviously I'm probably saying something that a lot of people already know right now, but that's one of the things I've noticed. Obviously very tight steering, and I have to say that previously the 718 Cayman GTS that I did, the 2019 model that we did a few weeks ago, was the best handling car I had ever driven here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel. Well, it's slipped down to second place behind this one, so now we're in a place, and you can't see it because we have the camera facing back towards us here, but we're on my favorite road to do test drives because of the cornering that we can take here. So we're gonna cruise on down through here and have a little fun. Hopefully there won't be any cyclists or anything on the road to hold us back. Now, I'm not going to push this as hard as the owner would, not only because he's in the passenger seat, but I'm not used to it like he is. But let's see how well it corners here. I'm not used to the handling like he is, but oh my goodness. I think if I drove it a little bit more, I could take that corner at a lot higher speed, but I can just tell by the way the car, there was no body roll whatsoever. It just really just took that corner so well. My goodness. Definitely great for handling. But one thing about it, of course, is the fact that if you're looking for a car that has a smooth ride, well, that's not the case here. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, for those who want these GT3s, they want all those boxes checked, that are for performance and handling. And obviously, to have the best handling, you're not going to have the best ride quality. Okay guys, that was a lot of fun, and that is the 2022 version of the Porsche GT3. I always appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to watch and giving me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to check out another of the videos that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.